Okay, well, we're back. We got the two first parts of our user story mapping narrative coded up last time. So assigning character points and then calculating other values. So today we're going to start working on determining character qualities. What we'll be doing is assigning a boon to our character, which...
They're different kinds of boons, but they all work essentially the same way.
So boon and a bane, and then an effect. An effect for the boon and an effect for the bane is the first thing we'll be doing.
So positive effects can let you roll more dice or receive an advantage or switch some of your dice rolls to sixes. We're not going to worry about powerful positive effects and powerful negative effects for right now. We're just going to worry about the basic ones. The negative ones are similar to the positive, except you get to roll fewer dice, or you have a disadvantage, or other stuff like that.
So because we consumed all of the character points in the first step, which isn't necessarily true of that isn't required, but we are, again, for our first slice, are simplifying it such that that's the case. The second step is essentially independent of the first step, right? Like there's one boon, one bane, and an effect per boon and bane, and that's just it.
I was going to say, we're also on normal mode, which means one boon and one bane. In the other game modes, then you can have more than one, but...
Correct.
Yeah.
A couple things I can think of that simplifies for us is we don't have to worry about selecting the same boon twice. We don't have the same thing with a bane. So like if we were to select multiple boons, then we'd have to worry about duplication. Yep. And the same thing with effects. I'm guessing you can't have the same effect twice on a boon.
Not on the same...
I'm not on the same boon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could have the same effect more than once on different boons.
Right.
And you can even have multiple effects on the same boon. There's a lot to that. We don't have to worry about all that right now, but we picked the easiest way to do this.
Right. Okay, so we need to pick a boon, we need to pick a bane. Again, thinking about what's valid in the game, even if it's not something we're doing now. Like you can have multiple boons and multiple banes. So we probably want that to be an array, even though we're only going to assign one. Just thinking about wanting our character structure to be legal in terms of the game as a whole, even if our current structure doesn't require it. I don't know. I'm up for either way, but that just seems like it would make...
Doesn't seem like it should be... Yeah, it doesn't seem like it should be way significantly more difficult to have a list of boons as opposed to a single boon. And like you said, that is closer to how it would actually be once we have additional features in there. Let's see, sword tests. In talking about this, should we use a test to help direct our discussion?
I think so, because I'm still trying to have a hard time thinking about what, like, is it just that there is a bane or a boon, like on our character after this? Because it's going to be random.
I mean, at the moment we're not worrying about like actually doing anything with dice rolls, so I think it would be very similar to like on the character sheet here. We have a name of the boon and what effects it has.
Yeah.
Or I guess in our case, we'll have one boon with one effect, so we'll have one, initially at least anyway, one boon, and it will have one of these four effects.
Well, one of the three, since the
that's true. That's true.
The fourth one has the cost of two. Yeah.
Right. Because that's
we won't be doing for this simple case.
Yeah, that's the powerful effect. So if we have a character, I don't know. I'm going to make stuff up here for a minute.
Do it.
So we'll have a character which we will add a boon to for now. Add Once they add boon, add random boon. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
And at the end of that, boons. What is the thing? To be defined.
Oh,
I don't know if that's what it is in Jasmine.
that's been.
We can. Oops. Not this one. Add boon is not. Oh, add boon is not defined. Oh, yeah, because we don't have one of those yet. Is add boon? Is that an okay name for now?
Yeah. I have been thinking about, I'm going to zoom out one level, like
Sure.
that. I've been wondering if our other methods or functions should return a character as opposed to modify the character in place. That way we can chain them together.
Well, we could do that.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's a thought I had. But we can continue on.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll make an add boon for now.
Yeah. That's now.
I could undefined to be defined. So channeling my inner Ward Cunningham, do the simplest thing that could possibly work. I mean, technically, I suppose we could do, whoops, even that, and given our current test, that would actually still work too, having boons be an object instead of an array. Do we want, so going to our character sheet again, the thing, so boons will probably be an array, right? Because we'll have multiple, we've talked about that, we'll have multiple. Someday we will have multiple boons. And each of the things in that array will have a name and an effect. Like,
would it be an array of effects?
oh, yes, technically, because you can have a boon that has multiple effects, right?
Yeah.
In our initial case, we won't, but
we're only assigning one effect.
Right.
So, I mean, we talked about last time as the game progresses, not that we're super worried about that right now. It's more personal curiosity. So you mentioned that like the character attributes could change throughout the game. Can the effects of boons change? Or I'm guessing you can acquire additional boons as you move through the game.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of a character progression concept, sort of like leveling up, right?
Yeah.
So as characters go through adventures, then they may learn new things that they become good at.
Do they usually get a specific boon? Or is it more just, hey, traveler, well done. Here is a random gift from the gods, as
Usually we let the player who controls the character decide what the thing should be. Although the idea is, and we're randomly generating. So that's one approach, right? But another approach would be instead of randomly generating anything, it's all defined by the player in collaboration with whoever's the game master for the game, right? Who says, oh, that's a little too broad. Let's maybe narrow it down, focus a little bit, or maybe it's too narrow. Let's make sure it's a little broader so that it's going to come into play sometimes.
Right. So we need the name to be defined on the first.
I made up some stuff here. Is that like?
Yeah, I think that was
that part. Okay, so our test should fail because we. Oh, one
don't have a name
in there. Oh, and it's not an array. Is it add? You say add? I don't remember.
Is it push?
Oh, you could probably do a couple different, huh? I'm gonna do this first. Yeah, maybe push. And then this one, well, let's see. So if we do this, then we have something in our array, so we can do our sub-zero indexing. And then if we say, oh wait, are we doing, I guess in here we don't have whether we're doing single quotes or double quotes, huh?
I think we were using double for most things, if I remember right.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Consistency, the only thing I really care about.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
In our tests, we're using double quotes. We'll use double quotes.
Okay.
I was using semicolons too. If we want to take the semicolons out later, we can do that if we want.
I like semicolons.
Okay, so I'm creating a very non-random boon that has a name. It should also have a list of effects, right?
Good. Nice.
It should have a list of effects.
Okay.
And it should have one effect. What should the effect look like? Should it just be a string?
I don't know. Like,
what do you think? There's a finite number of types of effects, right? There are only 4 available effects in the game.
Right.
And they can apply to any kind of feature. So there's a potential to make something that's reusable here, right? I don't know how you'd want to form
that. Like for display purposes, it'd be super nice to like something like that.
Yep.
I mean, this might not be how we want our test to ultimately be, but like for display purposes, it would be nice to just say, oh, the effects is a list of strings, and we'll just print out that list of strings. It's not very type safe. It is extensible though.
There is.
Oh, JavaScript. Okay, sure. We can start there.
Okay, so then I'm going to say I have an effect in here that is plus 2D.
Yeah.
Which in our actual game terms means when you're rolling a set of 6-sided dice to do some test, if the effect of this boon applies to that test, then you get 2 extra dice. Is that how that works?
That's right. Yep, exactly.
Okay. So this test, I think, helped us talk about the possible structure of boons and effects. Do we actually like that structure of boons and effects?
Sorry, so I'm just thinking about the effects, right? So the effects, at least as of right now, you can only have one of each of the effects, other than it looks like you can check off 2 of the R1, right?
I think that means it takes 2. Like it takes 2 points to do an R1 or an R.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so you can really only have 1 of each of the 4.
Right. You can't double them up on the same boon. Correct.
Right, which makes me feel like
maybe this should be
maybe it should, instead of, yeah, I don't know.
An array, like each of those should be a field on it or something.
Yeah, like the effects should be 4 things and you are true or false on each of those or something like that.
I just thought, oh, I don't know how to do this. Plus 2D to be truthy. That the right thing, Jasmine? Which if in that case we would say, whoops, here. Something like that instead. And then we have the other 4 on there.
If that makes the display less easy, like you were hoping with the other way. And honestly, like I'm thinking about this in terms of like actually playing the game, which we don't really care about for this. We just care about generating the character.
Yeah. Yeah, this would probably be easier if we were going to actually use this character to play the game, because this is, you know, a Boolean niche value, which would be easier to do conditionals on. I mean, again, this is JavaScript, so it doesn't care that much, but
okay, so maybe thinking about in terms of simplicity, in terms of randomly selecting an effect for a boon. Like, is there one or the other that would be, since we are focused on character generation and not using this really after that?
I mean, if it were a list of strings, we could just have an array of possible effects and just randomly select one, and, you know, get that value from the list of possible effects and put it into the list of actual effects for this boon. That'd be relatively easy.
Yeah. Whereas if we do this, then
if we were to do this, then I would probably do like do some percentage kind of random number, and 30, you know, for each 33% to
I mean, honestly, we could do the same thing, right? Because we could use the square bracket syntax.
Yeah.
Because it's JavaScript.
I guess technically as well, if we wanted to, we could let the system assign the boon to the fourth option, which really would mean that it wouldn't have any effect until at some point that character advanced.
Oh, are you saying like you could have the one check mark here, and so it wouldn't actually do anything until they advance and can put a second check mark?
Correct. Yeah. So they would be kind of limited in the beginning, I guess.
Is that something people do?
I've never seen anyone do that, but they could.
All right.
Huh.
Because your boons can acquire additional qualities or additional effects.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can get better at that. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the physical boons and I just saw perfect balance. So you could get better at perfect balance.
Better perfect balance. Yes.
Yeah. Then it's called perfecter balance.
Perfecter balance. Perfectest balance. Yes.
More perfecterlier balance.
Okay, so zooming out one level, what is the whole point of this particular exercise is to have something that would be useful for people as they right. So there we have the two. Let's
take a character off, go play, right?
Yeah.
So probably we can leave that option out.
Yeah. Character and also to, you know, for marketing purposes to like be like, hey, here's kind of characters, right?
Yeah.
Here's what a character might look like after you create your own, or you can just grab one. Okay. Yep. I don't have a strong opinion.
Yeah, I don't have a super. I mean, for the purposes of this, I don't have a super strong opinion either. I guess I have a slight leaning towards the having it be a string, just because that makes it easier to display. But that would be my only reasoning.
Yeah.
Well, if we did format it like the character sheet, would that actually make it easier? Meaning, like if you're checking off a box based off of
that's true. I guess if we formatted it like how it's formatted here, yeah, I guess maybe that would be easier.
It wouldn't be any
I don't
harder.
think it has to be formatted like that though, right? Because really it's a read-only thing, right? It's what it's meant to do. So you should
Sure,
just
but
know what they can do, not what the other options are.
right, but if the idea is that they can print it off and use it in the game,
Sure. Then having effects could be valuable.
I mean, we've kind of ignored that up to this point. Like what?
We have, because we don't have a current health either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just like if you were to print it off, what would you want? What would you need in terms of the sheet? Not just in terms of what the character is now, but what you can do to the character during the game. So
Yeah.
I guess the other question is like how important is being able to print one of these as opposed to like you just go to the website and push the button and you get a character and then you copy the information from that onto an actual character sheet that you printed out or something.
Okay. Well, I think we've spent a lot of time on this particular thing. So I'm
go forward.
Yeah. I would say let's go with these Boolean fields.
Okay.
I was gonna say we go with a string, but apparently we've convinced each other. So
yeah.
it's okay.
So we have one hard-coded boon with one hard-coded effect. We have a test for that. How do we want to go from that to randomly generated? Oh, I guess we should probably rename this test too, huh?
So
something like that.
I think the name, I think we want to have only one boon. Right now we have the boons are defined. I think that we also need to see that we only have one effect, which again would be easier if we were doing the array, but also we can iterate over the different properties of effects and make sure there's only one.
Only one that's truthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be like character dot boons. What is the length for an array in JavaScript? Maybe oops equal to 1. Is that right? Oh, 2. Oh, it's probably just 2 equal. Not that Englishy.
Yeah.
And so if we were to add another boon in here, that would fail.
Yep.
Okay. And then, so let's see, this is, so this part, we want to make this more general, right? And say, if we want to be able to still use this test for when it's totally randomized, right?
Yeah.
We want to say that only one of the, I guess as a step, we could assert that the other properties exist and that they are falsy.
Sure.
What are the other ones? Plus. That's probably a terrible name. And I think that will be, to be falsy. Okay. Faulty does not have an E in it. Today I learned.
Hmm.
Boons.
So in the text, it's called receive advantage.
Ooh, I like that name better.
Yeah.
Is in the text is the plus 2D? Plus,
Yeah, plus
right.
2D to
Yeah.
dice pool.
okay.
So that
This would be add a 6.
Add 6?
makes
Add
Add
A6?
I think A6. Yeah.
Okay. I could add tests to say that these are, defined or something like that
Okay.
to make me actually add them and set them to false, but I don't know. How do we do a test to say that exactly one of those is true?
So my thought is that if we had an array of strings that represented those three things, we could iterate over the effects, kind of like we did with the
With the like binding stuff?
Yes.
So iterate over these three and like just count how many of them are truthy?
Yeah.
Okay. But and we could maybe do, I mean, the way it is, well, I'm gonna say we could just iterate over all the fields that exist on effects, but we might add other ones that, okay, let's see if I can for each. Oh, does somebody else want to type? I've been typing a lot.
I can type for a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we did the array dot for each last time, huh? I like that.
Okay, so we're going to go over the fields to check. And then for each element in there, we want to do this dot, not dot.
Yeah, sub element is what it's currently named.
Yeah.
So if that triple equals true, right? Then we'll want a field to count like how many number of effects.
Okay, and then we want to just do an if.
Yeah. Maybe there will be some fancier way to do that, but right now an if seems great.
Okay, and then just
number of effects plus plus.
Mm-hmm.
And then after here.
Yeah. We can expect our number of effects to equal 1.
Okay.
Oh, let's see if that okay.
So if we change this
go add another effect.
to 2, sorry.
Change that to 2. That's not work.
Okay. And then we could also change the code.
Right. If we change the code to say receive advantage. That's what it was called, right? Receive advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it failed 2 ways because this should make these redundant, right?
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to take those out. So then we got 2 effects, but we should have only gotten 1 effect.
Mhm.
Okay, so our test is like we want it to add 1 boon. It checks for that. We want that boon to have a name. We want that boon to have effects, and we want it to have exactly 1 of the effects set to true. I mean, yeah, 1 of those 3 effects that we're currently concerned about will be set to true.
Seems about right. I mean, I think technically we get rid of 72 and still be okay. But
oh yeah, probably.
I don't know. But it's JavaScript, so who knows?
I mean, it would probably just blow up there.
Yeah.
And try to index into undefined, I assume. Here, let's find out. We can know. Oh. Except that it still passes.
Mhm.
If I like got rid of that. Cannot read properties of undefined.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't know. You want to take this one out?
I'm okay either way. Like, I think in JavaScript, you check a lot more than you would in other languages just because you have a lot more flexibility.
Yeah.
So yep. I'm okay keeping it. I think it helps. It would help debugging wise if there was a problem with the effects.
Yeah. It would be more explicit to say, hey, make sure you have a field named this, as opposed to something on this line blew up.
Okay, so we have a test.
We have a test. And we have it passing in a trivial degenerate case.
Yeah.
Would we see if we can display that information?
Ooh. Should we do that next? Or should we make it randomized next? Which would we prefer? I'm good either way.
Yeah, I don't know. I was leaning towards getting it randomized, but we can get it displaying. That'd be cool too. That'd be good.
Yeah. Okay, so over here, so this is what the page currently looks like.
I'm gonna increase the zoom in there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Something like that, maybe. Eventually we'll get to CSS and then this will be way prettier, but okay, well, it'll be maybe not way prettier, but prettier. Do you want like a, I don't know, we don't have any headings yet, do we? There's one called Boons.
Yeah.
Do you want to do another unordered list?
Seems like a thing to do.
This will be, should we just have it be like, because we know at least right now we're only going to have 1 boon with 1 effect.
So here's where our attribute map starts to fall over, huh?
Yeah, because we're going to have, I mean, yeah, because we're going to, at some point in the future, we're going to have multiple boons, which mean a variable number of boons, which means that this would, the number of LIs in here would have to get determined in the JavaScript as opposed to in HTML. But
yeah, I think for now we're okay because our first slice is gonna, we'll get pretty far before we need to start doing that.
yeah. Let's see. Here we did. I don't know. What do you want to call this? Boon name?
Yeah.
Well, that's super cool.
Whoa.
What that did. Never mind. Just kidding. It was nothing. This was not the HTML error, parsing error you were looking for.
This is before the span was closed, huh?
Yeah. I'm just gonna put something temporary in here for like so we can get how the HTML should look. Do you want to do how do we want this to look? Do we want to have like we could do something like, oh, that won't work super well, but do you want to do like that? Do you want to do like a more like the actual character sheet and do a table? And then we had multiples. Let's see, what are the?
So we could do another unordered list and show each of them.
Oh, underneath, yeah.
Yeah, and then
they can be formatted however you want when it comes down to CSS.
yeah.
As an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess the way we're doing it, if we want to avoid like programmatically putting in LIs for now, then this would be like,
well, we could put all three of them in, yeah, and then
do a you'd be fancy.
yeah.
I don't know. Is that fancy? That might not be fancy.
Ooh. Yeah.
And there's
I don't know how to do it.
one, right?
I think there's an X. I mean, there's like that or something. I don't know.
Yep.
Apologize in advance to any designers who are looking at this.
A6.
A6, thank you.
Probably want to wrap a span around those emojis, yeah.
Yeah, if we want to do this, we could do a, you know, ID. Stop helping me. There we go. Has, or we can just call it plus
2D.
2D.
Yep.
Now we got 5 double quotes. Here.
Has advantage, I think that's what we ended up on.
Yeah, and then
or receive advantage.
Add a six.
Oh yeah,
receive advantage. Receive advantage. Add a six.
That.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go with that?
Looks good to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I took over typing again. Somebody else can take over typing if they want. Usually I'm not the like aggressive keyboard driver.
It's because with my keyboard I type so poorly. Still working on it.
I'm going to have to change my seat here so that I can maintain power.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna move my keyboard so I don't steal the keyboard again.
Okay, so in this case we have to do so Boon name we could add to the list, right? Well, no. We can't add anything to the list.
Oh, yeah, we can't.
Right. But
we can do that.
In this case, it's going to be Boon.
Yeah, in double quotes, probably.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, and then character dot
I'm gonna make this bigger for just a minute.
boon
Dot boon dot name. Well, I guess, should we see if that works?
Oh, yeah, I guess it'll overwrite it, huh?
Oh, except what did we set our boon name to be? Oh, some cool boon. Oh.
Oh, no, because it's an array of boons.
Also, we are not calling our add boon function.
Of course not. Okay. We should do that.
Yeah.
Do you want to go and add that?
Yeah. Oh, I'll bring my keyboard back.
Okay.
Hey,
So,
look, it was some cool boon.
okay. So then after that, then we're going to be. Okay, so this will be a little bit trickier, I guess.
Yeah. We could do a, we could do a get element by ID dot intertext equals and then do a ternary. If we want to keep the check X kind of format.
So I think also we could do our array thing again. So boon 0 dot
X dot plus 2D.
and then
So if it's, oh, I don't know how, well, we're explicitly going to set it to true or false, right? So
yeah.
exactly how it evaluates the truthiness on a ternary. I don't know in JavaScript exactly how it evaluates the truthiness.
Oh, that
Oops. That was a little too much.
I had a hard time selecting the emoji.
Check. Oh, weird.
Are you able to do it?
I can type it. I can probably select it too. I don't know. Oh, yeah, let me select it. I don't know. Oh, I guess it will need
Wouldn't
to be.
let me either.
There we go.
Huh.
I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn on line wrapping since.
Yeah, I'm gonna remove these. So
Yeah, good call there. I'm gonna take out the boon name also. Oh, you beat me to it. You're gonna take out the boon name.
Okay, so there we go. Plus 2D. So we could change this to. Oops. Right, and that's just still work.
Yep.
And then
And we could make an array called like boon effect name or something. Or boon effect names, I guess, because we'll have a list of them, huh?
yeah, I've been wondering if a I looked up a little bit about what sorts of things people do as enumeration type things, right? Which the first example was just an object, right? Because you have essentially pairs, right? And you could, so I was like, oh, that might be interesting. Okay. Here, I'm gonna actually.
Oh, hey, look at that. We
already had this.
had that list somewhere.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and then we can do.
Then we can boon effect names dot for each.
It's not going to be.
Was
It's
it
not
not?
gonna
Is it not IntelliSensing for you?
be, it is not. It's like finds for each, but then it's like I'm
Oh,
not going to actually fill in the rest of it for you.
that's unfortunate. That is one area where live share isn't super great
Oops.
because like I think I get better since I'm the one hosting it. I think I get better IntelliSense than you do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe there's some settings I could change or something to make it a little better. I don't know.
No, I mean it's gotten better over the time that we've used it.
Uh-huh.
It feels like, but it's still not great all the time. Okay.
Okay, so we have let's do a little test, a little manual test here. We see an advantage. Set that to true. Hey, look, we get a cool little checkbox. And add a 6. Set that to true. Go to a check. Yay.
And our test will fail.
And our test will fail. Yes.
But that's fine.
Nice.
But our display logic works, so that's good. Okay. So that's good. Should we make this random?
Yeah.
Do we need to take a break first?
I was wondering that. I was thinking we could maybe finish up Boons and then take a break, but I don't know how long it's
I'm
been.
good either way.
We could probably finish Boons.
Yeah, so I think for today or for this particular session, if we just have maybe if we just grab 2 of the boons that are possible. So
Yeah. Or yeah, or 2 or 5 or something, right? Some
sure, like, but not. I mean, we can put the rest in maybe off camera. I guess is what I'm saying.
I mean, I don't know. I've heard that the YouTube algorithm pretty highly rates people copying and pasting text from a PDF, the source code.
Oh, wow.
That is the
Be
case.
sure and like and subscribe, folks. Turn on that little notification bell.
My kids constantly make fun of me when they're like, yeah, I'm gonna work on a YouTube video, and they're like, do you say make sure to like and subscribe, mash the bell? Like, no, we're not there yet, but maybe we are. I don't know. Okay, so
I was wondering if we wanted to have, since I don't know, maybe this is a premature optimization. If we had a list of physical boons and a list of ability boons and the other, I guess
Boons.
skill boons. If we had those as separate lists, and then for now, at least anyway, we take those 3 lists and concatenate them and select from that list. That would let us in the future target the individual boon types, in the future. I don't know. Is that a premature optimization?
I think it's fine. I mean, again, we're just trying to structure things more or less like the source material so that so we don't paint ourselves into a corner by trying to skip, I guess is what I keep thinking. Like,
right.
I don't know, one thought I actually had was that we could do it like the game actually says and actually copy over the numbers, the D66 numbers, which represent, if you roll 2d6 dice, what you get, and then randomize that way.
You could, because it actually doesn't, like, then the 11 and the 66 result, for example, are rare, right? And the ones in the middle are more common, which,
Yeah.
Actually, no, that won't be the case, because this is my thinking.
Yeah, because you're not doing the sum.
Permutations. Yeah, right. You're not doing the sum.
Although,
So yeah, no,
if
it
you roll
would-
them both
should
at the
be
same time,
equally possible.
yeah, I guess you could go if you wanted 34 or 43, and you could pick.
Sure.
That's
why we recommend people use a different color of dice and say this one's this place and the other one's the other place. But yeah.
There you go. Okay.
I guess one short-term disadvantage of doing it that way.
We'd have to have them all.
Well, yeah, we'd have to have them all. I guess that's a short-term disadvantage. Also, then we'd have to, like, because we have a different roll per boon type, roll for physical boons versus ability boons. So then we'd have to choose which of the boon types to.
And but that would be beneficial to have, in my opinion. I mean, we don't have to have it, but my viewpoint is it would be nice to have that, so that we could at some point make those decisions internally.
So in this case, we'd randomly select a boon type and then randomly select a boon within the boon type.
But for the very simple case, I say we just get 2 or 4 or whatever of them, like Mike says, and just pick a random one and
we just pick a string.
So that, yeah, and we can make it all fixed later.
Yeah, maybe for the initially we just have one single list and it has 1 or 2 from each boon type, and we just select a random one.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Again, thinking forward, I think it'd be interesting to, like, this is, again, thinking in the concept of like, hey, this is supposed to be like a quick start, a helper, as well as potentially a marketing thing. Like, I could see myself using this to better understand how I could create my own character by rolling physical dice. And so by showing the dice rolls, being like, hey, here's what you would rolled, and then this is the boon that you would get. Like, that could be, maybe, I don't know.
Even so, all of these names are all suggestions, right? A player can come up with their own thing, whatever they wanted to, make it up on the spot, right? And have that be their boon. So yeah, but it's a good example, and that's what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, my thought is that we pick just here the top 3 to 5 to whatever. We put them in a list. We randomly select one, and that's our name for today.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Your keyboard foo is stronger. So if you wanted to copy the first couple and then remove all the numbers, that might be.
Okay. I just want like the first 3, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep.
Do you want any from the other boon types?
We can add them later.
Okay.
Easily, I think.
However you want to do it.
Yeah.
Can always get some from the supernatural ones. Those are pretty interesting.
Sure, go grab the first of the supernatural ones then, or one of them. Do you have a favorite, Will?
Oh, I like a lot of them. I didn't write these. It's actually written by a really talented author by the name of Diogo Nogueira from Brazil, who writes a lot of this type of content for RPG games, and he's awesome. And I love it. I think they're really entertaining.
Huh.
Yeah, like 35 on the skill boon is I've read all the forbidden books in the dark library.
Yes.
Nice, nice. Did you want me to have this be an array? Or
yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to type that part, if you wanted to type that part.
Okay, so we have, and then, oh, what did we do? Just math.random times the length of the array.
Boon names. I think we need to do math.random times boon names.length, but I think we also need to floor that. Oh, this will be
yeah, function.
Oh, it's probably lowercase, huh? Because this is JavaScript. Something like that.
Yeah.
This
No,
one.
you need to do. Wait, is that gonna work?
Okay. Our test works. What do we actually get? Oh, imposing stature.
Do we always get imposing stature?
I think we always get opposing stature.
Because it always ends up
I
at
think
0.
the
We want
floor
to
is taking it
floor
to 0,
after. Yeah.
After the
Oh, we
multiplication.
floor
There we go.
after.
Otherwise, we always floor it to 0, and then we multiply by the length.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Yay.
Look at that.
Now we got to randomize the effect.
I wonder if there's a way we can test for that, because other than visual inspection, just
test that we.
Oh yeah.
That we calculated a random name correctly, as opposed to what we were doing, where we inadvertently floored it to 0 and it was always 0.
I mean, we could do the. We could mock the randomization.
Yeah.
Or we could run the test multiple times and make sure it's not always the same thing.
Yeah. I know. I thought about, like, if we mock the randomization, have we, like, essentially most of the actual code is just randomization, like if we removed the core of the code.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, in some languages, then when you get a random number, the random number generation, it has this kind of stuff built into it. Like pick an integer instead of pick a random number from 0 to 1. It's pick an integer from 0 to 10, where 0 is inclusive and 10 is exclusive. And so some of this logic would be built into the language or framework or something. In which case, then I think mocking the randomization would be a little bit more effective, because you're not also trying to test this. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we could. Maybe that'll be next time.
Maybe next time.
Okay, so we need to randomly pick one of the 3 effects.
Right. Do you want a list of the effect names and randomly pick one of those?
Yeah, and then we'd set it afterwards, right?
Set it like. What do you mean by afterwards? Sorry,
after the initialization. Here, I have the list.
Oh, hey, look, you have the list.
Hey.
Oh, then so you mean like instead of this, we would do
effects
sub
effects.
One of those.
Equals true. Yeah.
Or random. Let's see if I can do this right this time. This will be effect name dot length.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, apparently not. Apparently I horribly broke something.
Oh no.
Cannot set properties of undefined. Setting 2.
What line is it?
Wait.
Oh, effects wasn't defined.
Oh, so we need to define effects, just make it
Oh,
empty.
yeah.
You just need to define it as an empty thing, yeah.
Yeah, empty object.
Effects with an S.
Oh,
Oh.
we need to define all of that. Oh. Okay, no. Okay.
To 0 to equal 1. So we didn't.
We
Oh
broke one
no,
of our
so we're
tests.
grabbing, we're putting a number there. We need
We expect plus D2 to be true.
this needs to be
Oh,
We
yeah.
expect plus
Effect name.
D2 to be true in our test, don't we?
names.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot that part.
Oh, you're good. This is why we have the test.
Whoops.
This is why we have the tests, and this is why we work together.
Nice.
Hey, look at that. Look at that totally random character.
Yay.
Okay. With that, I think I'm happy to take a break. We should end with a commit though.
Oh, we should end with a commit.
Yes.
We probably should have committed along the way.
Yeah, we probably should have.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just? I'm just going to take this part out.
Yeah.
So I think we're.
Oh, do you want to remove that comment? Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think we need that anymore. Oh, I can even look at the diff over here. It's prettier over here, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So we added a test. We added the add boon function, which is now random. And in our HTML, we added a boon section. We call our add boon function. And then we added some stuff to hook up the boon information to our HTML.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go ahead and commit that. So as notes to future selves, we talked about possibly stubbing out the randomization so that we could inject that or control the randomization. So wrap the randomization in something that we can inject. The other thing we talked about, but I don't know if we actually want to do, is have each of these methods return the character that's modified. So that the characters are less mutable, but I don't know, that could also, trying to do that makes, I don't know, JavaScript doesn't care, so I don't know if it's worth trying.
I mean, we could, along that vein, we could also do something, we talked last time about how these are kind of temporally coupled.
Yeah.
Less so the boon one that we just added, but there's temporal coupling here, and maybe, doing something to address that. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Any wrap-up comments before we break from either of you?
I don't think so.
Oh, here's one comment for Will. Are you ready to show this web page to anybody yet? That's the true test.
Maybe not quite yet.
Okay, that is totally fair.
I think we're close. I mean, it doesn't have to look great. It maybe shouldn't say this is a test at the top. And then if we had the Bane and the Goody and the you know, and a little bit of character information, I would be all for showing it to somebody. It doesn't even have to look pretty yet, right? I've got a group of folks on a Discord that have, you know, that have this game, that like to play it, and I'm sure they would love to see it in this.
Okay, so I think
we're
now that
very
we've
close.
done all of the Boon stuff and figured out some of the randomization around qualities, it seems like Banes and Goodies should be relatively straightforward. That's my current prognostication.
It seems like they could follow the same.
You're right.
The same
I
pattern.
think that the Banes have different effects, so there's a little bit of a change there. The Goodies are exactly the same as a boon, except it's going to have a different list of names.
Yep.
And additionally.
I'm just anticipating some either duplication we're going to be able to extract, or some some preparatory refactoring we could do in order to extract things that we know are going to be duplicated. But we'll leave that for next time. So
yes.
Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap up for now.
Yep.